Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a wise gardener named Alaric. Alaric was known for his lush garden, teeming with colourful flowers and vibrant fruits. He was also renowned for his wisdom. Everyone in the village admired him and often sought his advice. One bright morning, a curious villager named Elena decided to pay Alaric a visit. She had heard of Alaric's wisdom and wanted to learn from him. When she arrived at his garden, she found him tending to his plants, nurturing them with great care. Elena introduced herself and said, "Alaric, I've heard you are the wisest person in our village. Can you teach me something valuable?" Alaric looked at Elena and smiled. "Of course, my dear. But first, let's begin with a simple lesson. Come, follow me." He led her to a beautiful rosebush and handed her a small shovel. "Elena, I want you to dig a hole and plant a new rosebush." Elena nodded and began digging. She planted the rosebush, watered it, and looked up at Alaric, expecting wisdom. But Alaric just watched her work silently. After some time, Elena finished and asked, "Is that all, Alaric? What's the lesson?" Alaric replied, "The lesson, my dear, is in the experience itself. Do you remember how you carefully dug the hole, planted the rosebush, and nurtured it with water and care?" Elena nodded. "Yes, I remember." Alaric continued, "Just like you tended to this rosebush, we should also tend to our own lives. We must examine our thoughts, our actions, and our choices with the same care and mindfulness. The unexamined life is like a garden left untended, overgrown with weeds." Elena's eyes widened as the realization struck her. "So, you mean we should be mindful of how we live our lives and make choices?" Alaric smiled. "Exactly, Elena. Just as a gardener cares for their garden to make it flourish, we must care for our lives, constantly reflecting on our actions and choices. It is in this examination that we find wisdom." Elena thanked Alaric for the valuable lesson and left his garden with a newfound understanding. She realized that wisdom wasn't just about hearing profound words, but about actively engaging in life, reflecting on her choices, and nurturing her own growth, just as she did with the rosebush. And so, the wise gardener's lesson stayed with Elena, transforming her life and inspiring her to live more mindfully, ensuring that her life's garden would be filled with the most beautiful and vibrant of bloom.